Okay.
Public overriding interest. And all of that. If a developer is coming to develop the plot for the purpose of residential purpose, the indigenous people have the right to have a take in whatever benefits that will happen on that land. Because it's residential purpose.
It is not either hospital or law school.
Living there are also residents of that same place.
Beautiful.
They are human beings. They are citizens of this country.
Good.
And so all benefits that should accrue to that developer for the purpose of his residential development should also accrue to the people,
the original owners of the land.
What our people need to be doing is first ask to be part and a benefit of what is going to happen there.
That's one.
Number one, if you have structures of building up to numbering 20, 50, whatever it is, and the person is coming to take over to build 1,000 units, 100 units, 500 units of you sit and discuss on how you should also benefit from that, partake in that.
Okay.
So instead of me saying, okay, we have 50 structure, come and give us 1 million, 3 million, we sit and negotiate.
If you are taking, if you have 1,000 plots,
yes,
you say give us 10%.
Yes.
Is that correct?
You go into negotiation with him because he is coming to do resident.
Okay.
Why are they moving you? That is not public overriding interest. I'm bringing another
for
person.
Business purpose.
I don't know if you understand. They are bringing another person. So these are the issues.
Okay.
But our people, sometime before you even go into trying to talk, they have already given in for whatever.
But don't you think there is a need for more awareness to your people?
Sincerely speaking, there is need for massive sensitization. Massive sensitization. That is need for it.
Okay.
And again, when you approach and you try to solve some of these issues from the office officially, they will confront you with the fact that the land is being sold to other Nigerians by our people, which I find it difficult to just believe, in as much as it's obtainable everywhere in the country. Anybody in their village, whether Anambra, Lagos,
anywhere,
have land, they see it as assets.
Okay.
An asset for livelihood,
okay.
An asset to take care of the children in school, hospital, and all of that. But in the FCT, the peculiarity which we know and hear that government have taken, and then it's constitutional, government have vested the power, the land
on the federal government.
On federal government, and so thereby making you to lose ownership.
And then you cannot do anything.
And you can't do anything on the land. That is one particular part
but
that is not giving a human face to what we are talking about,
okay.
Seeking for amendment, and then seeing how best this should be implemented.
But there's a fundamental issue. As at the time FCT was moved from Lagos to Abuja, we were told by the constitution that the natives were supposed to be moved out completely to neighboring states so that they give way for development. Now this was not done completely. Why has your people not made a case as to seeing that existing communities are preserved? Because we've seen cases where developers come into communities even like very close to existing communities to build estates.
Now I think there's a whole lot to be done. A whole lot to be done. Let me have some little minutes again to explain this.
Okay.
One, from the part of government. I can tell you for free that some government agents that are responsible to doing one or two, especially within the FCTA, don't do diligence to duty.
Okay. That's a huge allegation,
How do you plan a layout on an existing community?
But they tell you that it's a virgin place.
No, it is not. What they use is just sit down, take some points, and then you go on planning. Planning globally is with the people.
Okay.
You plan with the people.
Okay.
There should be no this kind of rancor where you go and see a layout on the people. That first you have not even put into cognizance of what you have as a plan for them. Is it urban renewal? Is it integration? Is it resettlement? You do not even have a clear plan for such people, but you have already done a layout on that community.
Could that
And
be
have
termed as a
given,
land
listen,
racketeering
listen,
too?
listen, and have given out to a developer, and
Okay.
allow the developer to pay bill of quantity, even pay for CO4.
Okay.
Well, you still have the people on ground. And some
Unresearched
cases,
to,
you see
unattended to.
developer coming to a community to say, here is my document given by government. He has done everything he needs to do in doing, making payments and all, and he's giving a certificate of occupancy. Meanwhile, you have an existing community, full-fledged,
on
that
that
have been
land.
there years before the existence of the Federal Capital Territory. No, it means some people are not doing diligence, because you ought to visit that place and see what you have on ground.
Mm.
When
Do an
you visit
assessment.
and see what you have on ground, you know too well that there will be no layout on the community until the community is being taken care of.
Now that brings us back to this point. Talking about, we've highlighted, of course, this issue of land from different angles, but you have representatives in the National Assembly who are supposed to give a push to ensuring that the minister or the government, the agency, the administration of the FCT do what is needed. How well have there been this push?
Well, it's a whole gamut of issues, just like I said.
Okay.
When you feel you have a representative, and so they should think of what to do and then go ahead to do it, then we are getting it wrong. Because
Okay.
from the word,
Because a lot of persons have laid these
from
allegations.
the word is representation. They say what we want and speak what we want. Yes, on their part, over the years, I've had cause to be part of meetings, town hall, the one that was here recently at International Conference Center,
Okay.
sometime in 2021, thereabout, yeah, where all our representatives pushed, and there was a town hall meeting, and the Minister of State gave it a bite, and we all met to discuss issues like this. And what was issued and then concluded on as a communique,
Yeah.
was to see how relevant sections of the law are amended. Otherwise, everybody.
But has that been done?
Everybody, yes, they pushed. If you remember the constitutional amendment that was done in the last assembly, in the distinguished senator Abuja.
Yes, I think we
and
covered
remember,
that
the
program.
we had town hall meeting first as
Yes.
FCT natives.
I think we also
International
covered
conference
that.
council to put our position together, and everybody brought their opinion. We had discussants, Professor Zamani, Dr. Lazarus Gaza, Barrister Kuyambo, and Barrister Panya. They were
Okay.
the discussants. We came together, put our position together, made presentation in Niger, made presentation in Plateau for
Jos.
public hearing,
Yes.
made presentation even at the International Conference Center.
Center. Yes.
And all of these, everybody was pushing to see that some of these issues we secure, we get from our
Just give me 1 second.
But at the end of the day,
Yes, if you're just joining us, this is Abuja Today, where we're talking about land matters within the Federal Capital Territory. You can drop your comment. We've seen comments coming in, and we'll be reading them out for you for our discussion. You can drop questions in case there are things you need clarified. This is the Public Complaint Commissioner representing the FCT. You can drop your questions. We've seen some coming in already. Keep coming in. We're dropping your questions and contribution over this matter of the FCT and its land issues. All right, Commissioner, before we let you go, what is your advice to FCT people, the indigenous, as to how to go about the issue of their land? You know, I've been to places where some are of the opinion that natives should also apply to own lands, apply to FCT to own land. Do you differ on that opinion?
how will I ever differ? Because they have rights. First and foremost, it's just like I have a bag of rice, and then you ask me to apply to have one model of it. By nature, by inheritance, the entire original inhabitants of FCT are tied to this land as their means of identity to start with.
Okay.
And so asking them to apply is not something too big, and then it's not out of
Please.
it's not out of place.
Okay.
It's just to legitimate what they have.
Because
you have a government in place, and you must play by the rule. And so, but the easiest way to even do it, like I said in one of my presentations when I was a guest speaker in Karo Carnival. I said the only thing the government, the Federal Republic of Nigeria will do to the people of FCT, and there will be lasting peace, and then we'll free ourselves from all this rancor, is for government to have a holistic plan for the existing 858 existing communities of the FCT.
This
to
estimation,
integrate them.
This
into the
estimation
master plan.
is
I
long
give them
over.
title.
Are there no
Because
new communities?
It's easier. Whatever community you have now, new. We are talking of when the
Because
census.
there's an expansion.
No, listen. We are even giving you a benchmark of when the census was done during Abuja panel. Who came out? Who came then?
Okay.
To take assessment of what we have on ground in the 8,000 kilometers square. What they had then is 858
Communities. 800.
existing, yeah.
That was when?
That was in 1995, 96, thereabout.
Okay.
1995, 94, 95, yes. No,
Okay.
1974,
Fine.
75, because
Okay.
the promulgation was in 1976. So before the promulgation, this panel was set up.
So
to
would
move
you
around and
would,
do their assessment.
would you
So
say
once you do this,
okay?
like I tell you for free, it's easier to even do this, because the issue of moving this person, you know, when you have settled down, you have had your structure, you have had your people around you, you are in tune, you are inclined to your environment, boom, they say they are doing resettlement and taking you somewhere after many years. By now, the planning is what we all do, and then government have relevant departments that are into planning, urban, they should in the next 20 years plan ahead. That is how developed city move.
Okay.
You already know you have existing community. What
There's
is your
an agenda
plan for them? Do the plan even before development
Now
gets to
that
them.
government do not have an agenda, obviously, it appears from what you are saying, it means government, in quote and unquote, have no agenda for their well-being
No,
and
no,
welfare.
that's not
Is
what
that
I'm
what you
saying.
mean?
That's not what I'm saying. I've told
Okay.
you that some people are not doing duty there. When you hear master plan,
So what should be the approach
when
of the
you- when
native
you-
themselves?
Listen. When you have master plan did not fall from heaven last year.
Somebody sat down
It's been
to
existing for years.
Okay.
And to achieve certain things, another years to come.
okay.
So, and I ask a simple question: in that master plan, what is the plan for community A, B, C, D across the FCT?
Okay.
It should have envisaged it and inculcated, and we should have seen a blueprint as we speak.
Okay.
But what they do is, as soon as development gets to a community,
Like a fire
there's
brigade
now that
approach.
thinking of what do we do with it. It's a wrong approach.
Okay.
And you can't keep doing the same thing and expect a different result.
Okay. What is your advice to FCTA as to how best to addressing this? Your message before now we have a new minister who so many have applauded as being a giant in infrastructural development. What is your advice? How best or what route should His Excellency Barrister Chief Nyesom Wiki take to ensuring that these issues are resolved?
First, just like I said on Arise TV, I congratulated him and I said, I am happy he's here as an individual who is passionate about development and a disciplinarian when it comes to managing government funds
Yes.
and then doing things. And I've also said when we met last week to discuss on the second runway issue with other stakeholders in a meeting, I said, and I will repeat, that number one, first and foremost, what the minister should concern himself with to succeed in the FCT is to ensure he carry along the indigenous people of the FCT in all policy he will formulate and implement. Because those policies will be for the people, just as it's defined. Democracy and government is for the people, by the people, and of the people. So there is nothing you will do outside the people. So if he gets it by bringing in the indigenous people, sitting on the table, inclusivity, have a round table, robust discussion of ideas and carrying them in all his policy, I assure you he will succeed. And I said again that in any time you see people afraid of government, then there is failure in the system.
Okay.
People should have confidence, people should have hope. But
the
when
government.
you make people fear government, is a departure to a global model of leadership.
Okay. All right. We are on the program Abuja today talking about FCT land matters. Before I let you go, Honorable Commissioner, There is this recent happening that is the construction of a second runway of the Abuja International Airport.
Yeah.
We saw you in a meeting with the minister talking about the compensation. First, how do I assess what the three ministers, that of the FCT, aviation, and I think two ministers,
Yeah.
how do I assess what they've done? Budgeting 800 and so millions for the compensation of the people. How do I assess that?
Well, first I need to say this emphatically that whatever happened on a very, very clear position as a human being may not be what we wanted,
Okay.
and may not be what we want to have. But at any time you go out for war or you go out for anything at all that has to do with bargaining, you usually don't get what you want.
Okay.
And anything that has to do with government and working on the rule of law, referring you to it continuously, it means even if you go to court against it, it is the same law they will test in the court, and you may end up losing everything.
Okay.
At first, I, as a person, when I received the complaint, because I didn't get it, I didn't go into the matter in my personal, I received the complaint from the community way back 2 years, when the Chinese company brought their equipment to just start work.
Okay.
And the community wrote to me.
I'm sure this is background as to how all of this started.
Yeah, because you asked me, so
Yes.
I need to give you
The
that
background,
little
yes.
background in
Summary.
summarized version.
Okay.
They ran to me to say, the Chinese are here with equipment to start work, construction, and I said, it's not done anywhere. We stopped the Chinese from doing anything.
Okay.
From the community and from my office. They went back. And the aviation looked for the Senate committee chairman, then, smarter than me, on FCT. And also the senator representing FCT, to see how they can resolve some of these things. And I say, I have a complaint in my office. And I confronted the minister then, in all the stakeholder meeting, to say, it's not done anywhere. You can't come to take over a place where people are earning a living without compensation, as enshrined in the Constitution.
Okay.
That was what brought in the issue of how do we solve the problem. And I said I need to visit the community. That's how I work in my office.
Okay.
And I went down to the community, all the surrounding community. We held a meeting. We held a meeting with them.
Okay.
And I got into the issues. Even when we had some group that differ in, we all
opinions.
brought everybody together. And I say, hey, here is it. This project is for public overriding interest. And it has security inclination into it. Second runway. So if we just sit and say, no, we don't want, we will not get the best out of it.
Okay.
But what we should focus ourselves on is what the Constitution says: compensation and corporate social responsibility. How many of our children are working in aviation? I raised that question. How many of them are even have enough money to pay school fees, scholarship? Where is even the access road to the community that we have there, linking other 9 communities from Tungama Daki? I raised that question. Where is the workable health center? So I told them, these are the benefits we can get, relying on what the Constitution talked about compensation. So it was a whole battle, and at the end of the day, we agree that aviation then we are doing it without the FCTE. And the aviation, which is obtainable in the FCT, you will have some private developer who will come, want to take over your land, and they will say, no, I don't want to go through FCTA, I have the capacity, let's just settle. And people settle mostly out of FCTA. All they do is the agreement that we have settled and they have paid me and I'm leaving.
Simple.
It happens.
Okay.
But in this case, even when aviation accepted to pay 2.5 after we pushed, aside all those other incentives.
2.5?
Yes, 2.5 million per hectare then.
Okay.
That was what aviation accepted when we pushed for it. And then we agree, okay, this amount payable, they will take it.
2.5 million.
Good for per hectare, yeah.
Okay.
And then after that, aviation did not come forward. We are not forthcoming to make the payment.
Okay.
Until when they went for a fake meeting, Federal Executive Council meeting, and I was told that the president confronted the Minister of Aviation then and the Minister of FCT on the status of the second runway. What is happening? We've not started. And they now explain the challenges they have.
Okay.
And the president instructed that you should get this done immediately.
Okay.
So when the Minister of then FCT and Aviation now sat to discuss and meet on it, that was where the problem started, because aviation, what they did was off the blues, and they did not have the capacity to pay what they said they were
What
going
they are
to
set
pay.
to pay. Now,
And then, listen,
Okay.
and then at the end of the day, when they now came back to get it done, the Minister of FCT now went to the site himself
To
with
see.
Commissioner of Police, Director DSS, and other persons to do groundbreaking.
Okay.
And the community ran to me again. And I said, no, it's not going to work. I stood from my office. I said, no,
it can't work.
there is an agreement ongoing, and there is something we have agreed on. You can't just come and say do groundbreaking without meeting up your own part
Part of
as
the
government.
obligation,
I
yes.
stood with the people, and that didn't work. Even when the minister insisted and gave instruction that the Commissioner of Police, Director DSS, all security should be on site so that they should go and commence work. I wrote, and I stood with the community, with Sir Kinjua, and we said it's not obtainable. You can't do it.
Hmm.
They left without getting it done.
Okay.
When we now had Festus Kiamu and Wike on board, the president also gave them that marching order about the second runway.
Okay.
And they have to also meet. And when they met, this was the challenge they met.
Okay, before you continue, now talking about all of this, you've all the time clamored for a representation at the Federal Executive Council, which you now have. There's Honorable Bitrus Zafena Gisalo, which everybody in the FCT, yeah, by what I've seen, is happy about. Is he in the know of all of this? What is his role in ensuring that all of these workings are done appropriately?
Well, you should also check. He's a minister for what?
Special duties.
Fine. So now, when you have the way government works, the community have run to me 2 years back.
Okay.
He was not a minister.
Now he's on board.
Now that he's on board, a meeting was called recently by the two ministers, and they invited the people they wanted to invite for that.
So he wasn't invited.
I wouldn't know, but he was not there.
Okay.
And the way my office works, I can't start jumping gun.
Okay.
He has the capacity, he has the passion for the people of FCT that I know, and I'm sure if at any time he's approached, he will lend his voice. And I can't sit here and say he's not aware.
That means there's a need
But he
for
cannot
synergy
just jump into it and start trying
without
to know.
being called
He
into
knows
it.
how government works.
Okay.
I know him. He has so much capacity, on how government works. So you can't just say, what
Okay.
is he doing? So I don't want us
Okay.
to see as if he's not doing anything
Anything.
about it. He may be working on the background.
That
to
means
ensure that
on
we
our
have-
part, we will call on the Minister of the FCT, Nyesom Wiki, to ensure that all hands are put on deck, because this is what the people of the FCT have always clamored for,
But let me
representation.
summarize to say,
Yes,
I met with the community and we made our position known.
which is
When FCT, when they resolved that what aviation did then was an aberration, was
Yes.
a departure of the law.
yes,
Any government agents taken anywhere in the FCT that has to do with the land, if they have capacity to go and do it and finish, fine. But if they don't, they must even hint FCTA, who has the constitutional backing to
Okay.
do the resettlement and compensation.
okay,
So when aviation now ran, Festus Kiamu now ran to Wiki, which you know it's everywhere in the media,
yes,
to say here is the challenge, how do we solve it? They reverted to what the law said. And what did the law say? FCT are the statutory agents of government that should handle resettlement and compensation.
compensation.
That is why you have the department.
okay,
And when they now conclude that FCTA should not take over, they now go back to the nitty-gritty on how it should be done, and
how it
it
is
was
done.
against
What
what everybody
aviation had
and the aviation. So when the
initially
people ran to
agreed.
me, we said, no, this cannot work. We have an agreement.
Yeah,
And they
an
now put
agreement
it to us
Would you
that-
say agreement is working against the law?
according to them, that agreement
Yes.
is working against the law.
Of course,
And that they are even ready to test it anywhere.
even in the court of law.
That aviation do not have the constitutional right to go and do resettlement and compensation. When you have resettlement and compensation, if they
Now-
have done it peacefully and it's ended,
Fine.
nobody will hear. Just like it's happening everywhere.
Now, is this runway, is it running into the community or is just cutting some part of the farmlands?
Now let me even tell you further that when FCTA accepted and they all agree, even at their own level, that FCT should be the one doing,
Yes.
FCTA, their rule was to go and count the economic trees they have on the land. And I tell you for free. I tell you for free, if you go there, a lot of them, as at the time we agree with aviation, a lot of those trees were cut down.
Why?
Yeah, sold out for timber and firewood.
Okay.
And nothing was left.
So
And
what do you now
insisted,
count?
I insisted, I said no. Economically will not work here. I know that is a principle, but it will not work in this case. Because I knew what I have on the ground as background check. I don't work just sitting in my office. I go to the
Communities.
community to see. I now said, since we have agreed on a hectare, let's go on it. They now brought their rate, it's 500. We insisted. I met with the community, we put our position together. I said we should have, if you are not taking that 2.5, let it even be 2 million. Or the worst case scenario, 1 million. But 500 will not work.
Okay.
In the last meeting, the two ministers stood before all of us and said even them, okay,
Nixon Wiki, the Minister of FCT.
His Excellency stood up and said he's with the community. But about the rate, he has no power to increase, since there is a laid down rule
On ground.
on ground. But
Okay.
he will, since I am insisting on behalf of the community, he will go out of his way and do other things in form of corporate social responsibility that may even benefit more than
I was going to ask you,
the money.
aside the monetary aspect of the compensation, are there other
So part of those he now said he
compensation?
was going to get out of his way to do, which I said, how many of them are working in the aviation and all of that? To start with, he now said aviation would take 12 people from the community and employ them immediately.
Okay.
FCDA would take 10, which
That's
is
22.
like a drop in an ocean, but for a start to employ an FCTA.
Okay.
And then they will construct a 5-kilometer route,
Okay.
which if you quantify, run in billions.
Okay.
Ordinarily, you say it's a responsibility of government,
Okay.
they should do it, but this is what is bringing it up, because you can't construct road everywhere at the same time in the
Time.
FCT
Yes.
until there is peculiarity. So, and then they will construct a bridge. There is a bridge that connects the community and 9 others.
Okay.
Once it's rainy season, you can't cross. They will
Cross,
construct
okay.
it.
Okay.
Amak Chairman raised also issue of health, and that they will construct a health center aside other incentives.
These are other part of the
But to
incentives.
increase the rate,
This
going
is a no-go
against what they have as laid
on
down,
paper.
that's what they cannot do.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Commissioner, Public Complaint Commission, Ezekiel Delatu Musa. It's been nice having you. We've been talking about land matters and how best issues of land should be resolved within the Federal Capital Territory. Any last word from you?
My last word is, I enjoy the part of being peaceful and exploring all the legal means
Okay.
in addressing our issue. We should stay on that path.
Okay.
But also to advise government that with commitment and genuineness in handling the FCT people, we will have a very seamless and very peaceful and egalitarian FCT.
All right.
All hands will be on
On
deck.
deck. All right, that was Ezekiel Delatu Musa on Abuja today, talking about land matters within the Federal Capital Territory. It's been nice having you once again. You can keep your comment coming in. We've seen some dropping comment commending you, Commissioner, for what you're doing. Some say Prince Peter Abakuk says that the federal government is not fair to the people of the FCT. All around unfair treatment is what he sees. All right, and then there's a need for, inclusion of the people of the FCT in the scheme of things. Yes, we have the same Peter Karsana saying the individuals of the FCT need fair treatment from the federal government. We've read that. You Dabawa Sumpe, we've seen